Guys, it's another segment of La Bella World Baking, and in today's segment I'll be teaching you how to make your very own homemade bread. You can pass it for your commercial bread, it's still okay. And here I have my 4 cups of flour level. This is 1, 2, 3 and 4 already sieved. You can also measure this as your 500 grams of flour. So here it is. You take out the excess and I add my 3 tablespoons of sugar. That is 45 grams. And I add my 3 tablespoons of powdered milk. Okay, and here I add my half teaspoon of salt. Now I add in my yeast, 2 tablespoons, and I would say it is 7 grams of yeast. All the dry ingredients to combine. Okay, give it a proper mix to combine. Now I'm going to add in my 190 milliliters of water. Now take a look at it here. This is the water. This is supposed to be 200, but I'm taking 190. Okay. Alright, now I'm going to break in my egg. At this point, I'm supposed to use mixer. But what if someone doesn't have mixer? As a beginner, the person doesn't have mixer. What are we going to do? That's why I want to practice without a mixer, but just with my gari, turner, the spatula. So let's see what we achieve without mixer. Here we go. Just give it a turn. Alright, at this point I'm going to take out my spatula and use hand in kneading since I'm not using electric mixer. Okay, this is where I start my hand kneading. You can see the dough is not very hard, it's just pliable, so I give it a thorough knead. Okay, still kneading my dough. Alright, there is something I almost forgot to do, and that is grating in my nutmeg. That serves as flavor. You can also add any flavor of your choice, but for me, I choose to use nutmeg. If you are using powdered nutmeg, you can decide to use half of a teaspoon. That's half of a teaspoon. Alright, so I still give it a good knead, but please always remember to add your nutmeg to the dry ingredient. It's actually because it almost escaped my mind, that's why I am adding now, but it's not still late. Okay, here is my 40 grams unsalted butter, which I have cut into pieces. So I'm going to throw it in one at a time. That's a bit at a time. If you're using mixer, just know that it's the same process. You finish mixing your dough, then you keep throwing in butter. Okay, I think I should top it up with a little vanilla flavor. Here, my cream vanilla. Just a drop. Okay, you can now see how soft the dough is. I'm going to clean my work surface now because I'll be transferring the dough there. So start. Alright, my work surface is ready, so it's either I use vegetable oil to grease my surface, or I use butter to grease my surface and bring out my dough to knead. This is how soft my dough is, so I'll just give it a good knead. Okay, this is one thing about bread dough, you just have to give it a good knead, unlike meat pie dough that doesn't need much kneading. Good. Okay, I want to be using this pan to bake my bread, so I'm going to give it a good grease, either with vegetable oil or with your butter. Okay, I've greased my pan, so I'm going to set it aside now. Okay, I'm going to shade this dough into 3 pieces now. That's 1, 2, and 3. And I'm going to roll each of the piece. I form a ball. Good. With my butter again, I grease the surface and I spread my dough back and front. Back and front. I need it to be 6 inches because the pan I'm using is actually 6 inches. So I will spread it to 6 inches. If I like, I can give it a measure. Then from here, I start folding in the dough. I hope you can see the way I'm folding it in. And this is it. Just have to close it in. So this is it. So I take it to the pan and drop. And repeat the same process. And I'll repeat the same process for the remaining 2 dough. The second rolling. Looks like sun crust, right? But it's actually our bready. I'll just spread the last dough. Now here is my bread. I'm going to cover it now with cling film. If you don't have cling film, you can use nylon to cover. It serves the same purpose. Alright, so this is it. Just give it a good coverage. Okay, I should use lid to cover these, but in the absence of lid, like I said, if someone is a beginner or you just want to make bread for your family, you don't have all these tools, you just cover it with nylon, just transparent nylon. It could be nylon like this. You wear it on the pan, but since I already have cling film, that's why I use my cling film. Then you find a cover that will close very well and cover the pan and set aside for 45 minutes. Please remember 45 minutes to rise. All right, while waiting for our bread to rise, I'm going to prepare my egg wash, and my egg wash is just this egg yolk just egg yolk that I'm using here. You can decide to use whisk. In whisking it, you can decide to use fork. Remember, my video is basically for beginners or someone that just want to bake cake at home for family use, whereby you don't have the baking tools available. So there it is. Just keep whisking my egg wash and voila. Alright, here is it. You can see our cake bread rather has doubled in size, and at this point I can just decide to bake it this way, but I'm not going to do that. Instead, I would like to apply a little egg yolk that I mixed earlier. Now I want to bake this bread in stove. I happen to find myself in a scenario where someone asked a question, what of we that doesn't have oven? Does it mean we can't bake bread for our family? And I suggested that bread can very well be baked with stove pot. And another person happened to come up and dispute seriously with me. She's a baker, the husband is a baker, they have never achieved baking bread with stove, but I know that over and again I have baked bread with stove. And that's the essence of this video, to prove to us that we can still bake bread with our pot and stove. So let's go baking. Though this bread is not up to 45 minutes, like I said, I'm actually in a haste now, so I have to go straight to baking. Maybe my next video I'll make it a complete 45 minutes rest for the dough, or you can keep yours to be that 45 minutes to see the outcome. Okay, this is it. Most time I use this tabletop cooker for baking, and oftentimes I also use this oven for baking. But right now I'm going to use pot, which I have preheated already, as you can see. Just place in my pan of bread and cover. So I'm going to be baking this bread for 20 minutes. Alright, let's take a quick look at, whoa, check this out. So we are still waiting for the bread to get done. Right, a final check. Now this bread was supposed to bake for 20 minutes, but because I used this stove, I increased my alarm to 30 minutes. That 20 minutes, you bake it in your 150 degrees. Okay, I'm taking out now. Good. Alright, it's time to remove my bread from the pan. So I'll just make my pan this way, turn it over, and remove the bread. Whoa! Are you seeing this?
Wow.
Are you seeing this?
This is amazing.
Okay, and I flip it over with this, just like when we are removing our bread. This is beautiful, isn't it beautiful? Alright, this is it, our bread. Okay, here we go. This is it. Look at our loaf now. So ready, and I'm gonna split. Oh, look at this. Look at this. You see this? Oh, wow. Quite yummy. Alright, and here we go.